Want to know the secret that separates the wealthy from everyone else? I've always wondered this myself as well, my friend. It's all about understanding assets and liabilities. And today, I'm exposing it all. Hello, my friends. My name is Vic. I'm a registered nurse and certified life coach turned personal finance strategist. And on this channel, I react to financial tips all over from the internet, whether good or bad, saving you time, frustration, and hopefully teaching you something along the way as well, my friends. Let's just get straight into the video. Please subscribe and share.
What is the best financial advice you've ever received?
Invest in assets, not liabilities.
Sometimes we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught, as said by the great Alex Hormozy. Assets put money into our pockets, whereas liabilities take up money out our pockets. So I think a good example, a great example even, is a car. Many people think it's a good investment. It's really not. It's probably one of the worst investments because it is it's not an investment. It's an incredible liability because you're paying for repairs on it, maintenance, car insurance, road tax, and the list goes on and on and on. Very, very expensive. And it doesn't appreciate in value as well, my friend. So that's a good idea of a liability versus an asset, which is something like investing in the stock market at something that generates you historical returns of 10% a year, for example, right? In some low-cost index funds.
What is the worst financial advice you've ever received?
The way to build wealth is saving your money.
100% true that you will not build wealth by saving your money. By the way, I'm not slating saving your money. Saving your money is an awesome thing, but it's step one of 3. This is how I personally understand this, how I personally believe it, and how I help people to understand it, because step 1 is the basic foundation. That is the number one thing. You need to have a good cash reserve. You need to have an emergency fund for peace of mind. And then on top of that, you can have a cash reserve. Additionally, step 2, in my opinion, is where you need to learn and understand more about investing. And then step 3, the final step, is where you increase your earning potential and earning income. Whether that's starting a business, whether that's increasing your job in terms of a salary, having a side hustle, whatever it is. Those are the 3 steps and 3 pillars, in my opinion, in that order as well, that I think people should understand them. Because if you don't have good financial habits, good financial discipline, and are not aware of how to grow your money, then it makes it even more difficult when you gain money or a lot of money from step 3, which is whether you have a business or not, where you have a lot of money, right? It makes it more harder for you to understand what to do when you have more money. If you're an ambitious guy and you want to learn to get smarter with money, I have a new online community that I've just started very, very recently, and I'm looking for my first 10 members, my friends. So if you just have a click down the link below, it's a 7-day free trial. It's completely risk-free to you. You could just check it out and have a look. And if you don't like it, you can leave. It's absolutely no problem. I've made it super, super affordable because I'm aware that financial times are difficult for everyone right now. There's also a course that's took me over 30 plus hours of my own time to make for you guys to take advantage of what I made to help you out as well. Normally worth $157, but it's given to you at absolutely no extra cost. If you want to learn more, just click the link below and have a look.
So true. Third question. What is something you used to value that you don't anymore?
Material things.
Material things, as you know, like a car, Gucci bags, there's not really any point to it. I would argue though, for example, a car, I believe in the principle that there are 2 places in the world where we spend most of our time in, which is our house and our car. So I do personally think, because I'm spending most of my time in there, right, I want to have a decent house and a decent car. So for me, that is just something that I personally believe in. And also because I'm not a millionaire at the moment, I don't have significant amounts of multiple 6-figure net worths, and I'm building it up currently. I do believe in imposter syndrome, so actually being able to afford a car that you can actually afford. I don't mind having something that's $2,000 and just driving it to the ground, or $3,000 and driving it to the ground. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind that. But the whole point is for me personally, it really does help my business mindset and being able to transition and transform into the role of my future dream self, of who I want to be, which is not being a materialistic person, but driving a decent car is one of those 2 things. Because you spend most of your time in 2 places, which is your car and your house. So I do think it is important to have a decent-ish house and a decent-ish car, because that's where you spend most of your time. I do think, for me personally, I've realized that it does help my quality of life significantly more. But that's just for me, my friend. It may not be the same for you.
What is something that you think people think is important when it comes to money, but you realize that's not really the right focus?
Net worth. Net worth is a crap indicator of real success.
All right, friends. Overall, a very good video. I'm just going to dive a bit more into the net worth of what they were saying. Obviously, these 2 guys are fantastic. They're very high up in the financial space as well. But in terms of this, my friends, what I wanted to just talk to you about is that with net worth, I do think net worth is really overlooked sometimes, because technically the definition of net worth is the total amount of financial assets and liabilities that an individual or a company or a household has, right? That's technically the definition of net worth, and that's what it is. But if we look at this, for example, my friend, let's say someone's inherited their wealth. Does that make them wealthy? In my opinion, no, it doesn't, unless they understand how to build more wealth and unless they understand what to do with their money, how to grow it. Because the thing is what happens with many people is when they obtain an absurd amount of wealth, or when they increase their income, because technically that makes them more wealthy and increase their net worth, right? What happens is something called hedonic adaptation, which is a phenomenon where people quickly return back to their stable level of happiness because their increase in income, it gave them a massive dopamine boost of happiness, right? But they want to maintain that level. That becomes their new norm, right? That's what hedonic adaptation means. That becomes their new norm. And then by meeting this level of expenses, what they do psychologically is they actually try and spend more money to buy more materialistic things and then reach that same level of happiness that they have. So, but actually what all they're doing is increasing their expenses whilst increasing their income. So actually they're literally exactly the same as the position they were in before, because they're investing their money into liabilities, not assets. There's also debt-fueled wealth, where people like Robert Kiyosaki, I think he's probably in like $1 billion of debt now. I do really like the guy, don't get me wrong. At least from what I've seen, I think he's a very good mentor, a very good person to the people from what I've seen. But I do think that you're taking enormous financial risks. I mean, literally, like Robert is literally like $1 billion in debt from what he said in his videos. Do you get what I mean? Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But he's like $1 billion in debt of real estate. And although he's making good money in real estate, he's still $1 billion of debt. And I think that generates a notion in the person's mind that you need to be in debt to make money. And in my opinion, you don't need to be in that significant debt to make money. Obviously, when you start a new business, stuff like this, obviously you're going to make losses more than you will profit straight away. True, but you don't need to be taking out massive loans, stuff like that, to be in significant debt. That's not necessary at all. That, in my opinion, is not high valued net worth, although the net worth will indicate that they are of very significant high financial value, and they are. But if something goes wrong, that's it. And for me personally, I'm very debt averse. I don't like debt, never have, but I just for me, I don't like it. That's not my game to play with debt. Maybe in the future I'll learn to play with debt from other mentors, who knows, but at the moment that is not the case. There's also illiquid assets, which, for example, like gold. I have a very decent 4-figure amount of gold and silver that I hold physically, and I've locked it in a safe. And with that, I literally can't exchange it. It's very difficult for me to exchange that money, because even if I go to a shop, they just say, oh, it's too much. Like, we can't exchange it here and now. Do you get what I mean? Because they literally don't even have the money there at the actual store in cash, at least from the shops that I've gone to in terms of gold and silver. So I need to literally actually send that gold over to where I bought it from, and I have to literally mail it there, which I'm not doing. That's, for me, I just don't like it. But also I don't need to do it because I've invested into gold and silver for insurance purposes, and because I think it's cool as well. Gold also has very good intrinsic value. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the absolute best investment, but if you were to invest in anything that's very stable and that is a good hedge against inflation, I would say gold and silver are your best bets, in my opinion, because that's personally what I've done. I never recommend or preach anything to you that I personally have not done. And there's also lack of life balance, because I do think the triad of success of a man revolves around the 3 fundamental pillars, which is business and money, health and wealth, and relationships. So it's the triangle, right? And with this triangle, with this triad, as they call it, it's very important to have high net worth in all 3 of these realms. In my opinion, it's better to just pick one and get really good at it and then move over to the next one. But for me personally, my fitness and health and business and money come first. At the moment with relationships, that is not what I'm focusing on. Although I'm not going to neglect that. That is a super important bit, but I'm focusing on the other 2 aspects first. And that, in my opinion, net worth doesn't necessarily need to be a financial asset, because all 3 of those correlate to an individual's actual net worth, the way I realize it, not just financially, but in their relationships and in their health and fitness as well, which relates to their whole fulfillment and purpose as a man. That's really all I have for you, my friends. If you want to know why I think you should stop relying on savings, period, even though it's super important, you should check out this video right here. If you want to know how much money you really should have saved by age, then check this video out here, my friends. I don't have anything else to say.